have you on Planetterrian Daily, episode 78 for June 3rd, 2026. Some interesting findings to cover today. Childhood flu vaccine analysis shows 9 to 14 fewer influenza cases per 100 children aged 2 to 5. A study separating industrial from ruminant-derived trans fats found the latter, present in milk, butter, and cheese, did not elevate cardiovascular or metabolic risk. The distinction arises because dairy trans fats are produced by microbial fermentation in the rumen rather than industrial hydrogenation. Population-level intake data were matched against disease incidence records to reach this conclusion. Nutrition labels that list partially hydrogenated oils therefore point to a different category than the ruminant trans fats in dairy products. Now, shifting to a very different area of research. A new meta-analysis examined vaccine impact across multiple seasons for children aged 2 to 5. For every 100 vaccinated children in this group, investigators recorded between 9 and 14 fewer influenza cases per season. The findings align with earlier observational data, but provide tighter bounds on expected population-level effects. Public health agencies can use the numbers to refine school-based vaccination targets. Electronic health records combined with symptom surveys identified many individuals meeting long COVID criteria who lack a formal diagnosis. The analysis suggests the true burden exceeds recorded case counts by a substantial margin. Refined diagnostic criteria and broader screening are listed as immediate research priorities. Researchers at the Pontifical Catholic University of Sao Paulo developed a composite containing jackfruit latex, pomegranate peel extract, and simvastatin. In laboratory and animal tests, the material reduced bacterial load and supported tissue repair in periodontal pockets. The statin component appears to modulate local inflammation, while the plant extracts provide antimicrobial activity. Human pilot studies are the next step outlined by the team. A 4-year study led by Trobe University found that hairy scarab beetles use candlestick banksia flowers as nocturnal mating sites while feeding on them in large numbers. The beetle's behavior provides the primary pollination for one of Perth's most common native trees. Researchers documented the insects arriving at dusk and remaining through the night, transferring pollen between plants during mass gatherings. The work reveals an unexpected plant-insect relationship that had not been recorded in prior surveys of Australian pollination systems. Follow-up observations will test whether similar beetle-mediated pollination occurs in other banksia species. Acoustic monitoring across managed forests showed resident species consistently avoiding areas with heavy clear-cutting. The data indicate that retention of older forest patches supports higher bird occupancy. The findings support calls for modified harvest patterns that maintain structural diversity within stands. McMaster University researchers, working with VU Amsterdam and the Woodwell Climate Research Center, linked shorter snow cover seasons to reduced albedo benefits from fire-driven landscape change. Earlier snowmelt exposes darker surfaces sooner, offsetting the cooling that followed past fires. The study projects further erosion of this feedback as northern snow seasons continue to shorten. Cornell scientists created atomic-scale moire structures by applying controlled strain rather than mechanical twisting or stacking. The approach, detailed in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, yields more uniform patterns over larger areas. Resulting materials exhibit the same quantum behaviors previously seen only in twisted bilayer graphene. Scalability improvements could accelerate device prototyping. A team observed platinum and nickel atoms separating and re-interfacing within nanoscale particles during operation. The dynamic interface increased electrochemical water splitting activity beyond static alloy benchmarks. Real-time imaging captured the rearrangement process directly. The work points towards synthesis routes that exploit in situ restructuring for other multi-metal catalysts. Male bowerbirds in an Australian city collected glass, plastic, banknotes, and even a pair of handcuffs to decorate their twig tunnels. The items were presented to visiting females as part of courtship, according to observations published in Royal Society Open Science. Researchers recorded higher visit rates when displays included brightly colored or reflective objects. The behavior demonstrates rapid incorporation of novel materials into an existing signaling system. The Greater Amberjack Count project, led by Sean P. Powers at the University of South Alabama, combined multiple survey methods across the South Atlantic and Gulf regions. The resulting data revised prior stock assessments upward for certain age classes. Fisheries managers will incorporate the figures into the next quota setting cycle. Additional tagging work is planned to refine movement patterns between management zones. Fresh evidence compiled from multiple cohorts shows limited additional benefit beyond the first year, alongside documented side effects that include sexual dysfunction, emotional numbing, cognitive slowing, and weight gain. The analysis distinguishes these outcomes from short-term trial results that formed the original approval data. Clinicians are examining whether periodic reassessment protocols could reduce cumulative exposure without increasing relapse rates. Researchers tracked waste shipment rerouting from the United States, Netherlands, Australia, and Japan to Southeast Asian ports once Chinese facilities stopped accepting foreign plastic. The diverted material increased open burning and uncontrolled processing in Indonesia, raising particulate levels in affected regions. The study links the policy shift directly to measurable changes in local air monitoring data collected after 2018. Analysis of long-term forest inventory records by Concordia researchers documented increased conifer stem density after decades of decline. The reversal coincides with changes in harvesting practices and natural regeneration patterns. Continued monitoring will determine whether the trend persists under current climate conditions. Data presented at the European Geosciences Union 2026 meeting revealed complex topography and compositional heterogeneity across the dwarf planet. Earlier interpretations based on limited flyby imagery underestimated the range of landforms. Additional orbital or landed measurements would be required to map the newly identified units. You've probably heard that all trans fats raise heart disease risk and should be avoided. But here's what's actually happening. Right now, as you consider your next meal, the trans fats in butter or cheese are produced by bacteria inside a cow's rumen, creating a different set of isomers than those formed during industrial partial hydrogenation of vegetable oils. One memorable distinction is that dairy trans fats show no association with increased cardiovascular events or type 2 diabetes in large cohort studies, whereas industrial versions do. The next time you see a nutrition label, checking whether partially hydrogenated oils appear in the ingredient list will tell you which category is present. Next time, we'll be watching for updates on the Greater Amberjack stock assessments and the human pilot studies for the jackfruit latex biomaterial. That's Planetterrian Daily for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. And before you go, this show is part of the NARA Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Models and Agents for Beginners a listen. Artificial intelligence explained simply for beginners and curious teens. You can explore the whole lineup at neuranetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.